Hello and welcome back to another episode of cedh Bling Builds. Today we're going to feature Korvold, the Furhurst King, fan favorite, with some 2022 updates. Not much, if I'm going to be honest. But what makes Korvold pretty interesting is that he is an infinite mana outlet in the command zone. Once you find infinite mana, you can draw your deck and then find a win from there. And because he's in Jund, right, and not like Mardu, you get to see, I think, loops that you typically don't see in other decks, right? And because there's no access to white, you don't see as many derpy stacks pieces, like rule of law effects and things like that. Now, why would I run Korvold instead of anyone else? Maybe because I want to bring a high-powered deck to a table. Or maybe it is a cedh table and they're not in stacks, right? And the reason why I bring that up is because in this version of the build, there is a lot less interaction, right? It's very, I don't want to say glass cannon because there are a ton of combos I can do, but I just have ways to protect my combos, but not so much disrupt the board. I think that's a lie, but let's get into the deck. So yeah, we have Korvold, the Furhurst King for 2 and Jund. He flies, and when he ETBs or attacks, you have to sack another permanent. And whenever you do that, you put a 1/1 counter on Korvold, or you could draw a card. No, not or. And you draw a card. Of course, we all know that Korvold could ETB and sack himself to draw a card. And because Korvold flies, in worst case scenario, we're just going to use Korvold to beat the fuck out of our opponents. Right, let's face it, right? So he could grind out with the best of them. Now, Dockside is probably the single most important card in this deck because it is the catalyst for a lot of nonsense. But then that really depends on what your opponents have going on. So by no means can you do Dockside Korvold things very early in the game. It's not going to happen. Even with the fastest opponents, it's not going to happen. But yeah, you really need to let your opponents get their rocks, get their rocks, get their rocks, get their rocks. Please, God forbid it's stacks enchantments, but preferably, they get the rocks. And some of the Dockside bullshit things we could do will include a Dockside corpse dance loop. Huh? What are you talking about, Tuna? Oh, a Dockside corpse dance loop. So if you can pay the 2 and a black and the buyback, then and you have a sack outlet for the Dockside, well then you can buy back the Dockside. So if you could pay 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and net one single treasure, that's an infinite loop for infinite treasure. We could do that very easily with a squirt prospector. Prospector on board, you could sack a goblin, that goblin being Dockside. The add 1 red is really nice because it makes this loop a lot easier. And bing, boom, bam, you are off to the races. Another Dockside loobity scoobity whoop we could do is with a Cloudstone Curio. Of course, it depends on what your opponents have going on. Dockside only goes plus on your opponents. I used to make the argument that Dockside is trash against a casual pod because your Dockside will only go even by turn 8. But with the popularity of Commander over the years, even the shittiest opponents are getting better, and they are finding cheaper rocks. They are finding things, permanents other than lands to put onto the field to enable your Dockside. But with a Cloudstone Loop, you need a Dockside, and I prefer La Baby. Skirt is a nice little baby. Bing, boom, bing, boom, bing, boom, bam, boom, bam. Another baby I really, really like is a Stitcher Supplier because its mill ability helps me to later on find the fodder I need for Underworld Breach things. Here's an interesting one. Agadeem's Awakening. At its worst, it's just a black, it's just a black land, right? I guess this is pretty jank combo. So at its worst, it does this combo. And so that combo will include Agadeem's, Dockside, Eternal Witness, and preferably one of these one-drop sack outlet creatures. This or Carrion Feeder is fine. I might try to find space in the deck for Carrion Feeder, so I have a redundancy with this jank combo. And so for X being 3, you'll get CMC 1, 2, 3. And then you'll get those treasure, right? You have to be netting treasure for this, ladies and germs. The Eternal Witness will get this back. The Dockside will make its treasure, and then you sack all of it, including the Seer, and then you do it again. It's another infinite treasure loop. Maybe in these colors, this combo has a synergy in another deck. Maybe we'll get a commander, a Jund commander, or that does things when stuff ETBs or pings. Right? And so that is the Agadeem's Awakening. Loop-diddy, scoop-diddy, whoop. Another combo we have that involves Dockside is with Deathrite Shaman. Huh? What? Deathrite does things beside create mana? Yeah. Funny enough, Deathrite is another creature that's really, really trash. If you have like trash opponents, because they don't have fetches, bro. So he gets kind of stuck. But his black mana ability, right? Exile target instant sorcery and from a graveyard, and you pew pew every opponent for 2 life. So again, if we have a creature that could sack, or an outlet that could sack the Deathrite and give it haste the way a Corpse Dance loop would, then and we have enough fodder, we could then Deathrite Shaman everyone to death, which is interesting. Like I said, because we're in green, we could do things that are a little unusual compared to like a Mardu deck or something in blue or whatever. Chain of Smog is in the deck for 2 reasons. One, it's a instant win, not an instant win, a sorcery speed win. Of course, with Witherbloom Apprentice. Bing boom bam boom bing boom bing boom bing boom bam, and you win. But since this deck really wants to find infinite mana, you could then also use a Chain of Smog and Storm Killing Artist Skadwarf to do the same thing with a Magecraft ability to go Hellbent, but also find yourselves an infinite treasure, and then Korvold will come on board and sack itself and draw the deck, and then you find a win from there. Easy peasy. We have Underworld Breach to do Underworld Breach bullshit. It's a little bit slower for deck, which is fine, because if we're waiting on our opponents to reach that sweet, juicy enchantment and artifact account for Dockside anyway. So So we can afford to maybe play a slower Underworld Breach, but we have ways to enable the Underworld Breach besides the Stitcher supplier, which include a grinding station. Grinding station, not so much to mill at your opponents. I guess if we're doing an infinite treasure, like a treasure ETB untaps the grinding station, sure. But what we're really trying to do is play while we're doing an Underworld Breach line, loop. We want to use our mana positive rocks, soul rings, mana crypt, mana vault, ETB untapping the grinding station, sacking that mana positive rock to the grinding station to mill ourselves for food for our Underworld Breach, and then just keep doing it. And then we have a Finale of Devastation. A lot of us forget that Finale of Devastation sometimes could be like a reanimation spell. We only think of it as a pay X special summon from the deck and win. So if we're doing Eternal Witness things, we could probably then special every creature onto the field from our deck. And then just with the infinite mana, you see what I'm saying? And then just beat everyone in their fucking mouth, right in their fucking mouth. This is our last resort, right here. I guess you could also cut to ribbons, but because I have while I was putting this deck together, I realized that I like this better than a cut to ribbons. I kept that and cut to ribbons. But cut to ribbons is also really good because it's shit spot removal, creature removal. And then later on, you could just, if you have the infinite mana, you could just, exsanguinate your opponents. Or if you're trash, Torment of Hailfire. It's such a bad card. Our creature package. We have some cock blockers. We have a Dauthi Voidwalker. Why not? He gets better. I used to shit on this card all the time in the casual pods. But he's a good police officer. He just kind of slows down your opponents from comboing off, which is nice. And the casual players, they just have all their permanents on board. Let's be real. The instants and sorceries that get fed to Dauthi are of no consequence to them. But the good player, it does keep them in check. Opposition agent, yeah, why not? Again, another nice police officer. Endurance. Endurance just keeps the Thassa's Oracle from, just keep it in check, you know? What can you do? They go off. It's like one of the simpler ways to try to stop them. We have our dorks. We have Birds of Paradise. Noble Hierarch. We have the Deathrite Shaman earlier. We have an Arbor Elf. And then we have Elves of Deep Shadow. My homegirl, Amy, looks just like her. And some of our rampy, not so dorks. We have like an Elvish Spirit Guide, Simian Spirit Guide, and then our other monkey, Ragavan. And appropriately transitioning into more ramp, we have a Rite of Flame, Jessica's Will, Dank Ritual, Cabal Ritual, Call in the Weak, and a Reign of Filth. With Reign of Filth, don't be afraid to just sack all your lands to make a huge play, I find, with Reign of Filth. Our draw package, not so impressive in this deck. I like Faithless Looting. It's a way to feed an Underworld Breach. Those two cards could really make a difference, believe it or not. And I just like to be able to filter through the deck. As a blue player, I like to filter through the deck, so I like the Faithless Looting. I feel like over time, fewer and fewer people are putting cantrips in their deck. Whatever. Of course, a lot of these cards are your call. Depends on the metagame. It depends on the playstyle of the pods you're bringing like a Korvold against. Maybe you need more spot removal in your life. Maybe you don't. Wheel of Fortune. Peer into the Abyss. And my CMC, I believe, is still low enough to get away with a thick, spicy meatball of an ad nauseum. Our counter package, for what it's worth, we have a Veil of Summer, an Autumn's Veil. I used to have this blinged out. It was Japanese foil. I sold it because I don't play this card enough. I picked up another one, so look forward to seeing that in non-blue decks in the future. Red Elemental Blast, Pyroblast, and Deflecting Swat. Deflecting Swat I'm on the fence about. I find myself probably will be hard casting this more often than for free, only because Korvold I don't think is going to be on the field like all the time. So this could be a flex slot. I'm not too sure. I'll figure it out. Our removal package, we have a Nature's Claim, Assassin's Trophy, Abrupt Decay, keeping it with the sub-Kinnan art. I was thinking about maybe getting the retro frame foil of the Abrupt Decay. I'm not too sure still. And a Toxic Deluge. Our tutor package, I got the Whirly Tutor and the Sylvan Tutor. I'm not 100% trying to find like a combo piece in the deck. I'm just trying to, I wish I could just shit everything into the graveyard, right? If they made like a Traumatize in black, I'd probably use it in this deck. Probably not. But, you know, if I could find, I don't know, this might be a flex slot as well. Oh, by the way, there's no dual caster mage combo in this deck. It could be in the deck, but I'm just so tired of it. You're seeing it more and more in other builds, and I'm just want to try something else. You can easily put that in here. A Gamble, Imperial Seal, Diabolic Intent, Demonic Tutor, the Vampiric Tutor. And we have the Tainted Pact in here. So you already know everything you need to know about my mana base. A Tainted Pact is still a really, really good card. As a forbidden tutor, it's still phenomenal. And it allows us very, very, sometimes, 1 in a million, to do stupid things like a Praetor's Grasp for my opponent's Thassa's Oracle into a Tainted Pact. That's an option with Praetor's Grasp, but you know, with Praetor's Grasp, I can also just grab whatever the fuck I want from my opponents. Everyone in the cedh community is very, very impressed by the Magda deck currently as of the filming of this video. Just take away their fucking Clock of Omen, bro. Jesus fucking Christ, these fucking neckbeards, bro. I swear to God. And then the obligatory Entomb Reanimate. It's whatever, right? It's Entomb Reanimate. The Entomb probably puts in a lot of work in this deck. Just entombing like the missing part of a Underworld Breach loop, whether it's a Lion's Eye Diamond or Wheel of Fortune. Right? And then a little bit of recursion, we have a Yawgmoth's Will and a Noxious Revival. Noxious Revival could just cock block an opponent sometimes. Other times it's just going to be recursion for us. And then moving along to our enchantments and artifacts. We have a Carpet of Flowers, Sylvan Library, and a Necropotence. I found, before I used to think that these two conflicted, but you're either going to find one or the other, not both. And even if you find both, it's still fine, because Necropotence is just one single point of damage. Itty bitty, teeny tiny. Our artifacts, we have a Lotus Petal, Jeweled Lotus, the Lion's Eye Diamond, Arcane Signet, Fellwar Stone. I gotta re-sleeve my Fellwar Stone so it's more shiny. A Chrome Mox Opal, Mox Diamond, Mana Vault, Soul Ring, Mana Crypt. And then finally wrapping these up with our lands. I was on the fence about adding Gaia's Cradle to this deck. I didn't. I don't know. I could. We'll see how it goes. So yeah, there's going to be a ton of, I'll bring this with me. I'll goldfish it until I play it over the weekend. And so, just with all these decks, especially in year 2022 and moving forward, I should have the Moxfield link in the description. And so you could see all the changes made to the deck or its current iteration. We have a Verdant Catacomb. Oh, we have all 9 fetches, of course. We have our duels and shocks. And then we have just the one basic, the one swamp. Oh, wait. There is a way for this deck to just shit everything to the graveyard. Hermit Druid. Oh, why did I forget about that? When what's his name? Protean Hulk got banned, I sold my, not Protean, when Flash got banned, I sold my foil Hermit Druid. That might have been a mistake. I needed the money. I sold it for like 200 or some shit like that. So, but whatever. I'll tinker with Hermit Druid. More and more decks are teching like Hermit Druid, so I'll check that out. I might have to rebuy my Hermit Druid. We have all the Battle Bond lands and our Horizon land, waiting for the rest of that cycle to be completed. For utility, we have a Ancient Tomb, a Phyrexian Tower, a Boseiju. Again, the Boseiju is probably going to be hard cast and not discounted most of the time. And then for our rainbows, we have a Gemstone Cavern, Command Tower, Exotic Orchard, Mana Confluence, and a City of Brass Sereno. And there you have it. You have Korvold, the Fey Curse King, coming in and clobbering our opponents. Fan favorite. So hope you like the changes. Like I said, just follow the Moxfield link for all the updates. Thank you very much.